Hey, I'm Daniel Kaluuya, and this is how I became Chairman Fred Hampton.
Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton of the Illinois Black Panther Party.
When we was at the Young Patriots, you know, with the Confederate flag, that scene, that was the first day, and I was really nervous. And I think something wasn't working, the scene was working, and then we managed to figure out why it wasn't working. And I think it was the first time I'd done the voice and had everything in a scene, like halfway through the scene, and then it was just like, we'll be okay, because I think I tapped. I think that day was me shedding the iconness of him, and I actually was really embodying him. And but I had to just kind of wear it for like half a day in order to feel it, and then go, okay, no, yeah, this fits, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And so that's for me. It was like halfway through the first day when I realized I was like, oh, I'm playing a man who has a goal and loves this group of people.
I will learn all that I can in order to give my best to my people in the struggle for liberation.
There was a tipping point when I went to Chicago, when I went by myself to Chicago for like a week. That was a tipping point. I wouldn't call it more important than anything else, because I think everything else is as important, even like the small details. But it was a tipping point in terms of like, cool, I feel I'm in here. You know what I'm saying? But I think it was just like I needed to get into that space and just completely focus on him for a week, in order to understand, like, yeah, no, I can hear, I can sit in a certain position and be a vessel that I'm aspiring to be.
And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
Usually in other processes, I would have a collection of people that I was like, this is the area that I would like go this and a bit of that. So I would just listen to people that I felt like I wanted to have a vibe of this. I want to have this vibe, and I would go into that direction. And with this, I looked for people that sound similar to Chairman Fred, and just there wasn't none. He's got a very distinct way of speaking, and I just had to focus on him, you know. But yeah, but what that gifted me was a new way of approaching things. Was that, oh, I need to really get into, if speech is a window into how you think, I need to get into his thinking in order to move in the space of his speech. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, why does this rhythm make sense? Why am I saying this way? How are the thoughts being? It's like, how are the new thoughts igniting from the thought before? You know, it's igniting in a different way, which is why you're speaking in that way, which is why it's like, you see that in the classroom scene. For me, it was like, it's like, he just goes, douche, he goes, douche. But he can take his time, but in the turn is bow. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what's quite thrilling about the way he speaks, is that, and that's that I saw that from watching him. It's like, oh, it's like this, and boom. This, and boom, another direction, this is the boom. And like, no one can even see that turn. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so in order for me I need to process those thoughts in that way, in order to replicate the rhythm.
Imagine what we could accomplish together. We can heal this whole city.
I think that's the alarming thing I found about Chairman Fred. There was no comparison. There was no touchstone that I could kind of go, oh, I get it. It was like, when I read the script, I was like, this is brand new. This is like, I have never seen what the hell is happening here. I've never seen. I remember Shaka he had two touchstones that he kind of thought of that helped me access the voice, actually, with Bernie Mac, and he mentioned Richard Pryor. It's not something that I had internalized, but he was just like saying the command that they had over an audience was similar. And I think they're both Illinois. They're both from Chicago. So it was, and Richard Pryor was definitely that era. So I know I found old school Richard Pryor tapes, and I was listening to that to find if there was anything that would feed what was building. When I was in Chicago, I figured out, like, and I wanted specific ones, but the ones from 1968, 69 were like, you can't find them. You know what I'm saying? Online. So I know I wanted that, but then it didn't feed me in that way. But it's I think knowing that he listened to Malcolm X and listened to Martin Luther King in his regular day in order to build his oratorial abilities, gave me a window into his thinking even more, but I wouldn't compare him to Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. He kind of absorbed those ideas and created something new. That's the genius of him. He absorbed all these ideas and created something original, like original thoughts, an original way. You know what I'm saying? That it's like kind of like, it hasn't been seen again in the public domain. You know what I'm saying? So it was more, that was probably the biggest mountain. It was like, I had no touchstone. There was no one I was like, oh, this is like this and this is like that. Like I said before, like the Widow's character, I saw it as Beanie Siegel. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, boom. All right, cool. I said, I know that way. And then I know a little couple guys I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? So like I knew the world. I knew the mentality in that sense. I knew the decision making. This is not easy. It's incomparable.
I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.
I think it's the Shaka, Lucas Brothers, and Will Burson's decision to make it a genre piece, thus making it accessible for like prime viewers and thriller watchers. And you know, it's like in that sense, because it's kind of like a similar narrative to Donnie Brasco or The Departed, or you know, those kinds of films. And so in that sense, if someone loves that sort of narrative, they're going to be drawn upon it and then meet this world and these politics and these views and these perspectives and and Chairman Fred Hampton, you know. So that's for me is what separates it, is that as a genre piece, we mean it as genre as opposed to just about it being about educating and informing and about the Black Panther Party. It's kind of, what did Ryan and Shaka say? You put the medicine in the food. It's how they saw it.
When I dedicated my life to the people, I dedicated my life.
I think it was the 50-year anniversary that day. We did the poisoning scene, and then the scene where Chairman Fred makes a certain decision, and I found that day personally really difficult to find the truth, get out of my own way, all my emotions were flaring up. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't clear. Like I realized how entangled and enmeshed I was to this. And I really felt some real things. And it was kind of like stopping me from accessing the truth in the way I usually access it. Mm-hmm. And so it was more of that. It was that I found that really challenging to find the way I usually find it.
Anywhere there's people, there's power.
I think Shaka said it today. He's like, you can't. What O'Neal isn't shows you what Fred is. Chairman Fred is. I think it was. He says it way more articulate than I just said it. I'm gonna text him after and ask it for a specific quote. But and yeah, so I think it's that. It's like you can't appreciate the light without the dark. That's just life. That's just truth. That's law. So I think we were both in service of Chairman Fred. Is the reality, you know. And I've heard Lakeith articulate that for himself, in order to access the depths and places that he had to go to. So and yeah, I think we just kind of sat in that truth. And supported each other on days that we needed support, when certain days where he had to do some really intense stuff. I was there, yo, what do you need? And when there's days where I need to do intense stuff, he was there, like, yeah, there, what do you need? So it kind of moved like that.
The Black Panthers are forming a rainbow coalition of oppressed brothers and sisters of every color.